People, deluded, I'm back again. I hope you're all doing well and safe. Good evening. Well, if you're over here in the UK, good evening. It's 5:30 p.m. So I guess everybody's returning from work. I know a lot of you viewing, or better yet, viewing isn't even a word or the right context. A lot of you watch me in other countries, so the appropriate greetings to you. I hope you're all doing well and safe. I hope you're all moving through the day and smashing closer towards your goals. I appreciate everybody that's here. Please hit the like button on your arrival. Like I said, good evening, people. I hope you're well and safe. I've had a bit of a busy day. I've done a lot of the sort of work around the preview for the Dundalk game. I've done my loan report. What else have I done? I've done some things for my personal life. I've set some more goals for 2021. It's been quite a busy day. I've handled a couple emails. Yeah, man, I've done quite a few things. And like I said, I hope you're well and safe. And I hope you made the day count rather than just counting days, really. So yeah, man, I'm good, Ollie, man. I hope you're well and safe. I hope you're doing safe. Big up everybody tuning in, man. Thank you for the nice messages. I hope you're all good. Big up the members as usual, always in the building. Can we watch the under-21 match? Yes, you can if you pay a tenner. FIFA, yeah, I will be watching it. And the big thing is Gabby Martinelli's back. Martinelli is back. That's where we might as well jump straight into it. But hold on. As M said, make sure you're dropping a like button, people. It doesn't cost a thing. Big up Rabona TV locked in as well. As I was trying to say, people, in fact, I'm going to start. Tavo, I didn't want to miss you out. I hope you're doing well and safe. I always feel guilty when someone says hello and I air it. Moving forward, people, Martinelli, speaking of the under-21s game, we're in cup competition. The lineup's been announced. I will be watching it, but off the top of my head, I believe Saliba is playing. I believe Socrates is playing and Martinelli's playing. First and foremost, I want to say I'm happy that Martinelli is back fully fit. I say fully fit. Obviously, he's not, but fit enough to take part in a match to some degree. And his injury is subsiding and he's getting better and better, because it's quite sad, not in a healthy way. There wasn't too much expectations on Martinelli, and he let his feet do the talking, and he's exploded on the scene. And he's someone Arsenal firmly could do with right now. He's a young man. I really don't like how him and Saka are really having to carry this team, or we're looking at them to carry it. But he's someone that we could almost doubt would run his heart into the ground for the team. Obviously, he can play through the middle as well as the left-hand side. And for me, the more players you have that can fight for first team spots, the less man that can start. Everybody should be putting in a shift. As much as I want to see Martinelli back in the first team picture as soon as possible, people, I want us to get his injury right. I want it to be right. I don't want him to come back, have a little niggle, and this prolongs his career. Because again, I'm no doctor, but it felt like, at a time, if Jack Wilshere just had that proper surgery and just stayed off football for a long period of time, he might not have had these niggling knocks he had. And I just want to get it right with Martinelli, because fitness and injuries are things that can hamper talent. He's got the attitude, he's got the ability, he's got the desire. Now he just needs a clean run with injuries, and he looks like he's developing physically. Like I said, his world kind of came crashing down because he was living a movie, being a decisive player. He probably would have played somewhat in the FA Cup, and I'm happy to see that he's fully fit and he'll play some part. Rumours are saying he's going to get anything from 45 to 60 minutes. Of course, that's to get some ring rust out, to get some minutes in the legs, to keep him ticking over. Like I said, the most encouraging thing for me with Martinelli is that he's technically ahead of schedule. Did they not say the end of December, beginning of the new year? And he's been in training and doing his own thing at London Coley for a while. So hopefully Martinelli suffers no setbacks and he gets some minutes in the legs. Obviously, for Socrates, this is it for him in terms of minutes. Hopefully he leaves the club in January and he can go play football, or we can get some cash for him. And for Saliba, again, you're hoping that he gets to play a couple more 23s or technically 21 games, and we sort out his short-term future in January. The latest rumor you all saw in relation to Saliba was that, people are split within the club. Does he go back to France? Does he go back? Does he step into the second division in England, people? For me, I feel sorry for Saliba, because he's come to the club. He made a big song and dance. His season was disrupted by Corona last year, or COVID, and a couple injuries. And he thought, yeah, this is a new beginning. We've messed him about in terms of him getting any minutes at first team football while he's been here. We messed around with a loan. Us and his club, his former club, St. Etienne, couldn't come to an agreement about the final. He's not playing any football right now. And now, for me, if I'm Saliba, considering all of this, and now some men are saying go Championship, some men are going France League, I'm thinking, is there is there something we're trying to do here? Is there a clear plan for me? Is there a clear pathway? And I'm a young man, and it just feels that we're all over the place. So hopefully we can find something in Saliba's case, because I don't mind him going to the Championship. A young man that hasn't got too many career appearances will learn a lot playing against them physical strikers. However, at the same time, I would like to see him in a top division, ideally the Premier League, but if not, the Premier League, if not the Premier League, France, because you get those minutes. For me, it's about making Saliba feel comfortable. Can he go somewhere where he can just focus on football, especially if he has had problems in relation to his fitness and his personal life. A man says Championship makes no sense for me. He'll get killed by Stoke. And is that what you need? Not what you need by defenders. You need centre halves to be in uncomfortable environments. We know he's good with a football. We know he's a good tackler. We know he's got good marking. But in terms of consistency and reading the game, there's a lot of lessons to be learned in the Championship. You're playing, you have to be consistent. The games are coming thick and fast. So there's a lot of games to be played. There's some street smart strikers. Some are powerhouses. Some are quick. Some are poachers. Some you won't know are playing for 80 minutes or so, 90 minutes, and then they'll score. So I wouldn't say it doesn't make sense. When you look at it, there's definitely more lessons, but for me, I would like him to have a loan in the top league, purely because if he goes to the Championship, what are we going to say? Can he do it in the Premier League? Which, to be fair, you're going to say, can he do it in France as well? Can he, if he goes on loan to France, man will say the same thing as well. But at the same time, I do think there's lessons to be learned. It all depends where you send him to, crucially, the system they play, the football they play, who is going to manage the guy. That's what the club need to get right. Stop messing the young man about, man. Big up you for tuning in on Twitch as well. Please make sure you're subscribed on Twitch as well as YouTube, and you're hitting the like button. Big up everybody locked in, people. It's appreciated. It really is appreciated. Please like the vid. It's nice to see so many of you are locked in. Somebody said, how to watch the under-23 match? You can pay for it if you go through the appropriate channels. It's Arsenal versus Wimbledon. I think Wimbledon are streaming it on their website. So yeah, get your wallet out and it'll be done there. When do you think Martinelli is going to come back to the first team? I don't have a clue. I don't have a clue. I'd imagine, he's going to get a 60 minutes here. He's going to get a couple of under-23 games. Hopefully, he can play, and he can play. He can make his way into the squad at some capacity, into the Arsenal matchday squad, because games are coming thick and fast. It's, obviously it's probably naive to suggest he's going to feature somewhat tonight and play in the Europa League. He might be on the bench, but he's probably a couple of weeks away from being in contention. I just want us to take our time. Hopefully he's available for the new year or early into the new year, because again, I don't want to be that guy, but he'll be like a new signing of sorts. And again, I'm all about pressure on places. Ironically, when Martinelli was here, it was a bit like the other young players we talk about. It didn't feel like Arteta was utilising him enough. To be fair, when Martinelli did play, he played right wing and he didn't have the best of games. Martinelli's a player I feel is a good player, but we've got to temper our expectations. I think he can be a very good player. I think we've only got him for a couple of years. I think Barcelona and these clubs there are going to go for him. I think he's got all the potential in the world, and he's got the drive. It's all about potential is one thing, but he's got the drive. But I think we need to temper our expectations. Him and Saka, I think it's down to the club, because there isn't good senior players here on a consistent basis, and it's testament to both of these young players that we rely on them. But I think we put too much pressure on them, and it's sad. And I think the club could do a lot more in that regards to mitigate against that. And I think Martinelli's going through the honeymoon period where he can do no wrong. And with Arsenal fans or fans in general, that changes very quickly. Like you said, nobody spoke of him giving that penalty away against Liverpool in the cup. No one really speaks of the woeful game he kind of had against West Ham. To be fair, but he's still developing, and this is what you've got to put up with. But he's got the world at his feet, so hopefully, Saliba, we can find a proper home for him temporarily in January, and he can, really develop. For Martinelli, I eagerly await his anticipation. Big up everybody in the chat. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Big up the members. You can check out the YouTube memberships of this channel via how you're watching this. I'm pretty sure it's down below. Really, it says join, or you can hit up the description. Well, to be fair, I don't even think it's in the description, but yeah, you'll find what you're looking for if you're looking deep enough. I'm seeing a lot of regulars. Big up J Money, big up everybody. Nuclear is spamming the chats. Please, people, do not spam the chat. I will purposely miss it. Or moderators, please ban people for that. It does feel a bit like barking. Your thoughts on the Pogba situation, I assume. Now, Paul Pogba, first and foremost, amazing footballer, quality footballer on his day. The problem is on his day in 38 Premier League games, that isn't too tough. I do think to a degree, Pogba is a bit like Ozil. He's scapegoated. I feel both teams, there's a lot of parallels. I feel, you sign a Pogba, you sign an Ozil, you think they're going to score 1,000 goals, 1,000, help you keep 1,000 clean sheets and just turn every game on its head, where you need to build a team around them. I do think sometimes they can do no right. They are scapegoated because of people's perceptions of those. And I do think they were both like focusing on Pogba. There's unrealistic expectations that was obviously going to come with him. I do think there's a lack of balance when looking at Pogba. Personally, like I just said, I feel that. I feel sometimes he puts his body on the line for Man United and people call him fickle and frail and question his commitment, which is unfair. But at times, I do feel that Man United and Pogba, just like Ozil and Arsenal for many years, it's time to divorce. It's too many newspaper articles, it's too many scandals, it's too many stories. There's been a couple managers now and it's been the same thing. It's not fair to the fans. It's not fair to Manchester United as a club. It's not fair to Paul Pogba. Man United are trying to get back to winning the league, and I'd say right now consistently qualifying for the Champions League. You can't keep dealing with this. I do think Pogba can have a future, of course, at Man United, but again, does he feel like he's outlived this situation? Does he feel like he's done all he can do and wants to move, in which probably is it? I do think, when you look at when agents speak, sometimes agents are rogue and they speak at their own accord, but he's not going. Someone like Mino Raiola, this stuff is all coordinated. It wouldn't surprise me if Pogba got a new bumper contract. It wouldn't surprise me if Pogba leaves. This is all coordinated. He's not saying this for no reason, and he's probably not saying this without, dare I say, for want of better phrases, the approval of Paul Pogba. He's putting the feelers out. Clearly, Pogba's been angling for a move for the last 18 months or so, and it hasn't happened. Whether that's due to injuries, these clubs having other targets, or poor form, I don't know. One thing that goes against Paul Pogba is obviously, there's COVID, and really and truly, you're probably looking at Camavinga and these sort of guys before Paul Pogba, unless he's available for a bargain. Now, Man United apparently, he doesn't want to renew his deal. He's contracted until 2022 after they took an extension out. But again, they run the risk of from January, a year from then, letting him talk to clubs for free, which you spent 100 million. You got to get something back on him, really. I know he sells shirts and the marketability, but you've got to get a transfer fee. He's been linked with Juventus, Madrid and Barcelona apparently. But again, the financial landscape of all clubs is probably lopsided. So there is strength with Man United, but again, this isn't smart. And I wouldn't say, and why I say it's with Pogba's sanction, because again, I do think when you have Ole Gunnar Solskjaer can probably decipher, not to hold things that Mino Raiola, someone as outspoken as him, says against someone like Paul Pogba. When he speaks, it's not exact. It's not necessarily directly correlated. But at the same time, some managers will exclude Pogba purely because of what his agent's saying. So Pogba misses out on football potentially in a World Cup year, a Euros year as well. That might not be the wisest. They've thrown the gauntlet down in saying that he wants to leave in January, basically, or summer the latest. So, they've made their intentions clear. What impact this has on the group of Manchester United and them as a whole, I'm not too sure, but it should be done really and truly, man. So please stop spamming. That's it in relation to Manchester United. Eric Cartman, I guess you're talking about Martinelli. You have to remember he might not come back the same player with that type of injury. I think Martinelli will come back better and bigger. I don't think he's been out for long in the grand scheme of things. There's probably a lot of mental scars he'd have to get over, because when you have an injury like that, you might be a thing where you're scared to commit to a tackle, you're scared to run or do several things because of risk of that happening again. So it's all about the mental scars. And I think Martinelli's probably learned a lot about his body and himself, but that is a risk you have to consider. He might not be the same player, but it is what it is, man. Is what it is. Big up everybody. Please make sure you're in the chat, hitting the like button, and you're offering your opinions. Big up Deluded. You should do a show with Troops, Turkish and Curtis. Imagine getting all three of them in the booth. It'd be lovely. I DM Troops all the time. He airs it. That guy's Hollywood, but big up Troops. Hopefully you'll have some free time. Turkish's schedules are madness. I do try to hit him up, but again, the same. And Curtis is here every Friday, more or less. So big up all of them. But it's probably a very difficult one to physically get done, really and truly. But I'll try. I have tried the gauntlets on other people. So yeah, big up everybody that's locked in, man. Didn't score against West Ham, DG. Yes, Martinelli did last season. I'm talking about the game he had a poor game against West Ham on the right-hand side. I'm sure in one of the few chances Martinelli was given by Mikel Arteta. But please make sure you're hitting the like button. Christian said an interesting one. Is it time to bench Oba alongside Hector Bellerin and Xhaka? I feel the last two names. Wait, before I get to you, Christian, would you take Paul Pogba? Would Paul Pogba take Arsenal? Of course, I'd take Pogba. But once again, is it time to bench Aubameyang alongside Hector and Xhaka? As I said, my guy, Xhaka and Hector Bellerin are non-starters. You know, that's a non-brainer. I respect your intelligence. You know, you shouldn't really be playing them two. You see, I'm not really as anti-Bellerin and Xhaka as some people. I just don't think they're doing their jobs. I just think they've both shown that they're not of the level to display the consistency we need to advance. I was giving Bellerin the luxury of one full season under Arteta, and I'll still give him that. And you know, to a degree, he's reacted under Arteta, I guess, because Arteta's been very critical of him in an attacking sense. And that's where the problems came from against Spurs, because he was caught out. But he's actually got 3 assists, and he was very critical on him on that. But I just don't think Bellerin's developed enough. You know, there's 3. He's not playing like there's any real pressure, because there's 3 men fighting for that one's right back spot. I don't know how much Arteta rates Cedric. He doesn't use him. He talks up Maitland-Niles, and Maitland-Niles has played in some high pressure environments. But if everybody's fit and available and Arteta's job's on the line, is he starting starting Maitland-Niles at right back, left back, or in midfield? I'll leave you to answer that. Both of those players need to probably keep it moving. You know, I haven't seen the consistency from Hector Bellerin. He's 26 in March. He's played 200 odd times for Arsenal. He's been part of FA Cup runs. He still can't take a throw in, and he's still not developing. I give guys respect. You know, El Nene is not exactly my biggest cup of tea, but I think he should be in the squad. And you hear me say he should start games because he's got in there, showed some consistency, and just done a job. If Xhaka and Bellerin can do that, then fair play. There has been moments of Bellerin playing in good form. Xhaka the same, especially since Arteta ironically took over in Xhaka's case. But again, there's too many of these players at our team that are hot and cold, and sentiment alongside depending on their form changes with fans. You know, David Luiz, 1 minute he's public enemy #1, then he's RG. You know, Mustafi goes through a bit of form and whatnot. El Nene, I don't feel El Nene's thrown in this, but just to highlight it, you know, we've got a lot of hot and cold players. You know, you need people that are very few players in this team are consistent over a 38 game period. You can bet your life on minimum 7s out of 10. Some man here are going to give 2s and then 7s and then 10s and then minuses and the rest of it. In relation to Aubameyang, it's a tricky one, because if we had a better squad and we had better players and whatnot, I'd say maybe we're at a stage where you probably, for Aubameyang's own mental state, you pull him out, you know, you bring him off the bench or something, you know, because we've tried to keep playing him on the left and saying, yo, it's a one-off, he'll get back to goal-scoring ways. Then we've tried to just keep playing him through the middle, and it still ain't happened. But the thing is, who do you play? I know Lacazette in his last 2 games in the Europa and against Spurs, he's done all right. And I know Aubameyang ain't scoring, so it doesn't really make sense. But Aubameyang's still got that goal-scoring threat. And I also feel, you know, Aubameyang's one of these guys, as much as I feel he's looked disinterested, he's looked downbeat, and there's question marks of him. You know, strikers are weird players. They get 2 goals, they get a goal, and they're back again. The energy's back. He had no chances really against Spurs, but anytime he's gone for a header or he's tried to shoot, he's not looked confident. He's looked like he's in 2 minds. You know, when he's scoring them goals like last season against City, it's because he's confident. He's not thinking, he's just doing it, sort of thing. He's just doing it, sort of thing. The thing is, we've got no one else. We have to persist with Aubameyang, and you know, you can't just go to a back 4 and you can't just play Aubameyang through the middle and think things are going to change. You know, we're not showing anything. Which we're putting in a lot of crosses, which shows to me, you know, there's an emphasis on crossing, but you know, there's no real movement. You know, if we're going to cross the ball, someone needs to dart to the far post. Someone needs to hang back and make a late run. Somebody needs to make a run so someone can make a run off them, like on their back and whatnot. You know, I'll try and explain it in my tactics board a bit later. But yeah, man, you know, that it is what it is. And I don't feel we've done that. You've played him, but there's still imbalance in midfield. The midfielders don't want to find the strikers. The strikers are not moving. So there's an imbalance and a disconnect. How is Aubameyang going to start scoring goals again? Personally, I would have stayed with a back 3. Probably still would have been poor, but every last 3 games we played, and I've done a preview, I've said let's do a back 3 because we was coming off the back of an international break. I doubted Arteta is going to have to, and obviously sandwiched a couple Europa League games. Arteta is going to have not enough time to really do the finer, intricate attacking sort of play. So I thought it was a bit naive to go to a back 4. But again, if he said, okay, we're going to go with a back 4, we're going to become a crossing team, you know, we're sticking to this, there's light at the end of the tunnel, I can respect it, but I can criticize it. So I would say keep Aubameyang in the team, of course. If he don't get a goal against Burnley, then, you know, what have you got to lose at this moment in time? and things like that. I'm sure you've all seen Aubameyang's Instagram post. He's going to keep going. He seems defiant. Hopefully our captain can start scoring goals, but we need to start creating. And that's where I feel we've got to start creating. We don't lay it on the plate, but at the same time, we need players to take responsibility. Aubameyang's not Thierry Henry, but what he is a professional footballer. You know, Aubameyang can drop deep, try and drive and commit a couple Spurs players, take a shot. If it goes into the stand, so what? But just get that frustration out. Don't always be resigned to defeat, sort of thing. We can't keep saying that. It's a bit like when Ozil used to play well and we would say there's no runners, you know. Force someone to make that run, commit them to make a pass. Defenders commit, you know, they only go so far. It only goes so far, so we'll have to see, man. But I'd say at least for now, keep Aubameyang through the middle. Maybe potentially, if Martinelli was fully fit, I'd entertain. Maybe you can go on Martinelli through the middle, Saka on the left, Pepe on the right. Just try something different. Maybe Lacazette in the 10. Well, you know, you could play Lacazette through the middle. And to be fair, the last two games I've seen from Lacazette, he's been all right. Like he's been all right against Spurs. I think he had a good game. Sometimes I've seen Aubameyang score and play. I mean, well, Aubameyang as well, but sometimes I've seen Lacazette score and put in a bummy performance. You know, forget the goal. It wasn't to Harry Kane standard, but sometimes you've just got to look at the performance. You know, for Harry Kane, the goal and the assist for Spurs was the icing on top of the cake, but he defended very well. He tracked very well. And I think Lacazette put in a shift, you know, but again, strikers got to score goals. And if we don't create anyways, and our striker doesn't score prolifically anyways, then it doesn't lead for much confidence, does it? Thank you very much for your praise, people. Big up yourself, Ali. Big up yourself, Nuclear. Thank you very much. Big up everybody tuning in. If you're logging in right now, please make sure you hit the like button. Big up yourself, Tabs. Big up yourself, Fenwa. You know, Barnsley. Do you know what it is? I just think if we're gonna send Saliba to the Championship, we should send him to a Brentford or a Watford or a team like that where it's fairly close, because we've got to consider the off-field matters. You know, if he goes to Watford, I don't know his living arrangements. I don't know if Saliba lives and trains with lives with a teammate. I don't know where he lives in London, but I know Watford's training ground is next door to Arsenal, so he probably wouldn't have to change his day-to-day life. So again, we can help him be comfortable. Brentford, obviously, it's a bit further out the way, or to be fair, you know, Brentford is probably not that far. It's probably more closer than where I am, really. But you get the point. Barnsley would be good, you know. That's them up north sort of things. You got to learn how to defend, but off the field, he might be a bit isolated and things like that. Johan has said, Balogun not in the squad tonight. Do you think he's in line for a start against Dundalk? Well, I don't want to say the Dundalk game is a dead rubber, because we're already through. We've made a perfect sort of, what's the word? We've made games harder than it's had to be, but we've had a perfect start to the Europa League without that. We've won games, you know, we've made it an easy ride by that standard. So I don't want to fail it and necessarily lose and whatnot. And it's our last game, you know, and whatnot. But I would like him to start. I wouldn't mind him starting. He's worked. He's looked good in his last two games. I wouldn't mind Balogun getting a start. I think that's the one thing for our players, our fans, just seeing some young players. It's our refreshing getaway from what is the league. You know, the Europa League's probably going to get stressful now because we've got one more group stage, and you know, I'm sure a lot of you are going to be browsing the Champions League over the next 2 days to see who qualifies and who not. Because I think right now, well, you see, I'm missing Champions League, the first game, Philip, but I got it recorded. Off the top of my head, I swear technically Man United, Inter Milan, Leipzig, PSG, Real Madrid, if I haven't stated it, these teams, or not all of them, but technically some of these key teams can drop into the Europa. And I don't want to admit it, but you've got Spurs already here. Who do you think would win tomorrow if we play the North London derby? I'm an Arsenal man, so I'm going to be deluded and say us, but we probably all know the truth because we lost to them on Sunday. So I would like the young G's. I would like Smith Rowe, Balogun, you know, I would like Aziz to play some minutes. I would like Ben Cottrell to get involved in that regards as well. Yeah, man. So yeah, hopefully it probably means he travels to Ireland. So we'll have to see, man. We'll have to see. Big up yourself, Narco. I hope you've recovered from the North London derby. Do we ever truly recover? Or do we just accept it? It is what it is. We just have to move forward with life, really and truly. I wouldn't say I've recovered, my guy, at all. That's probably why I'm doing all these live streams. You lot have got me through it, really and truly. Denny Hughes just said, how old are you, my G? I'm 25. I don't know why you're moving to me. I'm from North London. Okay. Anyways, moving forward. Dermot, always see your comment. You love our people, don't you? You love our people. Elias has said, according to Fabrizio Romano, Arteta is going nowhere. And I don't, for what it's worth, I don't think Arteta is going anywhere. You know, we've got to look at the Arteta saga. I mean, the Unai Emery saga, apologies. It really did take a lot for Unai Emery to leave, because really, you know, he really should have went after his first year. He done well to even survive. So it would take a lot. And like I keep saying, not to sound like a broken record, but when I tell you guys how, you know, we hear the language from Ornstein and these sort of people that were well ahead of our summer for 2021, how much of that can you plan without the manager? And this is a manager who I don't think you've invested enough in, but you're investing in. You know, he's a manager now. He's not a head coach. He's getting more of a say in transfers and off field. We're hearing about charisma and pulling everyone together. So you're not investing enough, but you're investing in him. So to a degree, I do think there's pressure on Arteta. Obviously, you know, it's his first big job. He swam at the deep end. You know, everything's going to fall with him. But is there any pressure really on his role? Because I feel they're actually, the board and everyone's deluded if they felt that this squad, even with the additions of Partey and Gabriel, take nothing away from them. Could boost us to the top four. Maybe winning the FA Cup was an air of complacency. And if they did feel that they're deluded, but if they did feel, okay, cool, we've tried to bring in a creative man, this squad isn't good enough. You know, it would only be Arteta's first year. He probably has a bit of credit in the bank with the fans and ourselves with the FA Cup. Let's just see where this season can go. You know, make your mistakes now, learn from it quickly, sort of thing. Get your free hit. I'm not saying that's right, but I'm saying, is that it? And they're saying, you know, this season is just a heartburn. See what you can do. Can you pattern a Europa? Can you get the FA? Can you live a miracle? I don't know. I'm very concerned because whatever you say about Arteta, or in fact, as I'm very partial, for me, I blame the people above Arteta first, then the players, and then Arteta. But it's all in hand in hand. You know, as much as I question Edu and things like that, and I feel with Edu where he's probably messing up is not that it's wrong to get rid of people. Obviously, if people are losing their jobs, that's upsetting. But if you're trying to streamline the system and make us work better and have better practices, I'm all for that. What business or what supporter wouldn't want their club potentially ran in a better way? Definitely us Arsenal fans. I get it. But at the same time, when I see language like everything's got to go through me, I got to be the first point of call. When you're inexperienced, are you being naive and setting yourself up for a potential failure in that regard? And as much as I'm getting onto Edu and maybe Vinay and the lack of bringing in a creative man, when I'm hearing you having to beg for 45 million to sign Thomas Partey, where we've not addressed that area since Vieira's been here, I can't really, you know, the blame really fundamentally has to be with the man at the top because, you know, the things Arteta can control, you know, blueprint on a Sunday, you know, game management, what's going on with the Ozils, the Salibas, you know, why is Willian starting, Bellerin and Xhaka, why can't Bellerin take a throw in? We hear about improving players and working one-to-one with Sane and Sterling and looking at them flying now. Can't we just pattern up a throw-on from a consistent throw-in from Bellerin? I hear that, but at the same time, he needs to be helped. I don't feel they've helped Arteta to the fullest degree. I don't feel Stan Kroenke wants to be a winner. Thomas said, please don't join the Arteta out bandwagon. It takes time. I have not once said Arteta out, bash him out, get him out. Like I said, if people feel Arteta isn't the man, or if they feel he is the man, they're entitled to their opinion, provided it comes with balance and provided they can consider that, cool, I don't think he's the man right now, but he might be the man, or he's the man for me, but he's showing me he's not the man right now. I care about Arsenal Football Club. Listen, like I said, I hold Arteta accountable to the lack of DNA I'm seeing on the field, the lack of, you know, last season he was getting a tune out of some players short term, and I'm not seeing any of that really. So you set yourself kind of high standards. I'm within my rights to ask what I want. You know, it's about building blocks. Rome weren't built in a day, but Arteta needs to show me some cement. I need to see scaffolders. I need to see permits being writ. I need to see, you know, plumbers doing stuff in the new builds and things like that. And I don't see that. I agree with you. It does take time. You know, Arteta has my faith. I'm asking questions, and the more we lose, I'm looking at him a bit funny. But as of December the 8th, I don't feel he should be sacked. And even if he is sacked, what's going to be said? We said the same things under Emery. We're saying the same things under Arteta. Even Lombard, when he had his short-term thing, he was begging for backroom staff and support. Did we help him in that regards? No. So it doesn't matter if it's a new manager, if it's an experienced man, and all of these sort of things. They're going to be in the same things. Many people give the example of Klopp, and I don't think it's going to be like that. but I understand why. But one crucial thing is Liverpool backed Klopp. You know, they believed in his vision collectively, and that's what the club need to do for Arteta, in my opinion. And also, he's backed in the market. You know, they reinvested the Coutinho money extremely well. I do think Arsenal have spent money, but we've not spent it well. Now, I blame Kroenke for not showing ambition to be a winner, not being proactive. You know, in a season where Arsenal are struggling financially, and COVID meant that FFP laws and these sort of things were lifted. You know, if that's Roman, which he did, he's saying, yo, it's time to spend some peas. We're not really on that. So I have to blame him for that. But at the same time, when you look at our transfers, the little pennies we've had, we've mismanaged. And if we're meant to be self-sustaining and have to watch pennies, we've got to do more. I'm not trying to scapegoat these players, but just to paint a picture, I think Pepe's a good player. And I don't, listen, we all know it's not 72 million, but let's look at it in a harsh way. 72 million, is he one of the best players in the Premier League? Is he top 5 right now? Do you get it? We need to see that sort of stuff. Xhaka, 30 odd, maybe even 40. What midfielder is he? We're still saying the same things. He's still dividing the fan base. You know, he's gone, but we bought Lucas Perez for a decent change, you know. Mustafi, 35 million. There's been numerous. I like Lacazette. Like I said, big game. He was pressing against Spurs. He played well, you know. But we signed him to be a striker. We signed him to be someone that's scoring 20 league goals. I genuinely feel if he was doing the Aubameyang goal scoring, we don't sign Aubameyang. We go for a winger. Or if we did sign Aubameyang, I'm not saying that we'd ease up the workload on Aubameyang or ease up the criticism, but maybe the highlights of Aubameyang's struggles wouldn't be there. Maybe even Aubameyang wouldn't have signed a new deal. Maybe we wouldn't even be talking about Aubameyang needs to play out wide because Lacazette's banging. Either way, we spent 52 million on Lacazette. Have we got 52 million pounds worth of goals, worth of assists? Yeah, he's got player of the season. And like I said, he's a player I've really liked. I wouldn't say he's a flop, but did we get 52 million worth? Yeah, in today's day and age, money's been flunked, so you could say that. My question is, this is why as fans, you can't just say it's all Kroenke, it's just the players, or it's just Arteta. For me, fundamentally, the buck stops with Kroenke. If we had a owner that had ambition, then there might be a bit more urgency on everyone when you trickle down below, and the club could potentially sing from the same hymn sheet, because fundamentally, Arsenal fans are just crying out for some hope. They're just crying out to see a team that looks like a football team on a Sunday. See a manager talking about things and reacting, knowing that a club, whether they're selling players, whether it's contract renewals, whether it's trying to get Champions League and above that, they're trying to move to that. Because ironically, every team that's beaten us so far, they look like a football team. Every team in the league looks like a football team. The two that look a bit shaky, we've beat in Man United and Fulham, and actually Sheffield United, who are 20th. You know, anytime we've played a team that's had a manager that's been there for a while and they've had some work ethic and you can feel their desire, we've struggled. We're reactive as a football club in every word of it and in every discipline. So I wouldn't say, this is why we need to be very careful. If you question Arteta, it doesn't mean you're Arteta out. If you say it's not all his fault, it doesn't mean you're an apologizer. For me, I look at it in a balanced thing, just like what I gave Emre. I only said Emre needs to leave the club when it got towards the end, and it became evident for me that I just feel the buck stops with you, because for me, it stopped the players. I don't feel Emre was to blame for everything. Like the Europa League final, I think that one's with the players. I feel Emre's to blame for the Premier League because, yeah, the players messed up. But over that period of time, there was, 8 games? He started doing mad stuff, threw it away. The players messed up the Europa. But the players get away with a lot. And a lot of these players might even be hiding and saying, you know what? I was here under Wenger. I was here under Emre. I was here under Lombard. I don't know how long off the top of my head Arteta's contract is, but I might be here longer than him. So who knows? You know, we'll have to see. Big up the members. Big up yourself, Nifon, man. I know you're a gold member. I really appreciate that. As he said, hit the like button, people. Hit the like button. Aslan, like you said, it's a joke. To be fair with you, I want us to be like Bayern Munich, of course. Well, listen, we'd have to do a lot to even challenge for titles like them, of course. But I do agree we need real Arsenal men, but by the same logic, we need them to actually be good at their jobs. Like you look at Bayern Munich, yeah, you might have this guy who's been at Bayern Munich before and played for Bayern Munich, but he's an elite sporting director or he's an elite this and that. I don't want to just bring people in for the sake of it, but I agree, because we need people, when we're looking left and looking right at Arsenal or these people around it, we need someone that reflects it. You don't have the Kroenkes coming down and saying, yo, listen, I'm the owner of Arsenal. This is a winning thing. If you're messing about, you're not going to last here long. You ain't got no, like, you know, in school, if you walk past a head teacher or you walk past certain older kids, you have to fix up and you stop acting stupid in the corridors and stuff. We ain't got stuff like that. We ain't got people where they feel like there's pressure on them. There's eyes on the back of their shoulders and things like that. And it comes down from the culture. And that's one thing I give Arteta. He's big on culture. He speaks about this sort of stuff, really and truly. You know, nobody should expect top 4 to 6, but I think what people should have expected is a bit of a team DNA, a bit more of a consistency. Definitely not to be out of the race in terms of top 4 already. And we all know the lack of where we stand in terms of lack of creativity, lack of chances, and all the rest of it. So yeah, man. I'm not too sure about Vieira being our manager. Forgive me if you're not going to say that, but again, considering he lost his niche job, you know, that might be something for him. Maybe he wants to take a break because it is high demanding being a manager. So maybe he's aired that. But it would be nice, you know. I'd love Vieira to work with the midfielders, especially, really and truly. It is being streamed on AFC Wimbledon's website. If you wish to pay, anything beyond that, I don't know. Please stop spamming. What do we need to do to be proactive? It comes from the top. It comes from the top. If Kroenke says, yo, you're going to get money, but when every penny, you got to justify this, then, you know, they have no excuse. Edu and Vinay, they have no excuse but to get these players in and help Arteta. Then Arteta, once he gets these players or whatever, he's got no excuse. Then for me, there's more of a sense of urgency. There's pressure. Then the players are going to feel pressure. If I'm not up to task, I'm not playing. Somebody's robbing my spot. Only when you have urgency and a sense of purpose can you achieve your goals in life. Football's no different. We don't have a sense of urgency. We want it sometimes. You know, we want it in moments. We don't want it bad enough. We don't want it when the cameras aren't off. We don't want it. These players don't want it collectively and individually. That's why we're in this position. Because the thing about football, there's no hiding place. You know, everything you do in the dark is shown in the light. And, you know, them extra yards, them hard grafts in training, them extra shifts, learning from mistakes, none of that is being reflected on the field. So you can't hide, you know. I can't blame you for saying Arteta out, but I personally don't think he should be sacked right now on the 8th of December. But again, I'm not Arteta FC. I support Arsenal. I back Arteta. I want him to get it right. Don't want to become a yo-yo club. But yeah, and that's it. Bayern Munich, they've got values. Everybody works to it. Everybody knows collectively what they're trying to do. I'm sure at Bayern Munich, they all have different opinions. You even saw with Pepe. Some man wanted to bring Pepe, some man didn't, and whatnot. But you get it. They're all ready to collab and things. And that's one thing I admire about the German teams, especially. You look at by Borussia Dortmund, I can't name them, but you see a philosophy with what they're trying to do. And I agree with that, Adnan. But at the same time, you know, he's got to show more. He's got to get more of a tune because I'm sure most fans would say there was more of a DNA. If you could see evidently quicker what Arteta's trying to do, most fans would say, yo, listen, all right, cool, the players are dead. You know, we saw that a bit last year when he was putting them counter-attacking moves together, them 17, 18, 19 past goals, the way he was defending. Because, you know, when I was watching us against Chelsea, first game, and we lost it in the last 15, I was saying, yeah, okay, I see what he's trying to do. But these players let him down. And we almost flipped it around against United in that regards. So, yeah, man, I just think he has to get more of a tune. Big up everybody in the chat. We've got some super chats. It's always appreciative. Gio has said, who responsible for Arsenal not re-signing for 8 million before he came to my club? Milan also for letting Yunus go and soon Balogun. Keep your young talent. I think you're talking about Benassia. Apparently, some people are upset about that. I was vexed about that. That was one of my first videos. Benassia should have stayed here. You know, Benassia is a box-to-box midfielder that would have been good. In relation to Yunus Musa, I'm not going to lie. I'm always on to Arsenal about letting young players go, but they were playing him in the under-18s when he was a schoolboy. They did all they could. He just simply saw a better pathway for himself at Valencia, and it's backed up. He's played for America now at youth, at international level, or being called up, and he's playing week in, week out in La Liga. So more life to him. It's the same as Jamal Musiala. I think there would have been a pathway for him at Chelsea, but you know, many people would have said, "Why are you going Bayern Munich?" You know, but there was a pathway and something to believe in. DVS Daldinho said, "Arteta out. The ship is sinking and no path forward." And I think, you know, you're allowed your opinion. It's just down to Arteta to prove you wrong. You know, it's just down to Arteta to show the same intent that that he showed obviously when he first came to the job. People. Sharon is saying, attempt blocked. Gabriel Martinelli, right-footed shot from outside the box is blocked, assisted by Socrates. I've got the game recorded. It's actually being played in front of me. I'm trying my best not to look at it for you guys, but you will get your review, better yet, of that game as usual. Big up everybody. Big up the members. Big up the super chatters. Big up everybody listening. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Twitch, make sure you're doing the equivalent. Again, I wouldn't mind Dennis Bergkamp returning or someone like Overmars, but again, I think we'd have to really scrutinize their work. I wouldn't mind Ralph Rangnick. I don't think you can underestimate experience, and I do think Edu probably needs experience around him. Of course, there are probably people that assist with transfers or help Edu in day-to-day that we don't always see that could be experienced, but I would like that because you cannot underestimate experience. I do think it's overrated, overstated, but it can never be overrated. Apologies, already had that. Big up everybody locked in, people. You know, I can't blame you if you're saying Arteta out, you're within your rights to say exactly that. As much as I feel that's a bit harsh, it's just down to him to prove you wrong. I think that as well. But when I look at the amount of crosses, when I look at the sheer distance Bellerin was covering on the field, is it by coincidence or was it by accident? Because for me, I always think I don't see evidently what Arsenal is trying to do. But then I look at it, I'd say, okay, the last couple of games, we've put a ridiculous amount of crosses in, you know, however much in Spurs game, which was a record for us. Wolves the same in the second half. Is that on one hand, I think that's panicking. I think we lack ideas. I think that's panicking. But on the other hand, is Arteta saying, listen, this is what I want. It will happen, to which I have to allow the players, in which, again, it's a bit of both. It's down to Arteta and the players because, again, people, apologies. I'm about to mess up the green screen and things. I've tried to hold this up so it would all be in shot. Can you all hear me when I move the mic so I make it easier for you guys? Can you lot still hear me fine? Please tell me. If not, then I can't do this. It's not going to make sense. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. What's all of this about, people? Hit the like button. It doesn't cost a thing. But the tactics board, people, now, yeah? Out of shot, yeah? We're obviously the team in red. We're the team in red. Now, from what I saw with Arteta, he wants to put a lot of crosses in. I haven't, for obvious reasons, I haven't got all of the back with the whole of the opposition's team now. But typically, this is a setup, right? You see a back four very narrow. You'll see two midfielders tucking in. They'll not try and concede space. You'd obviously have opposition fullbacks either stopping the crosses or tucking in and playing like wingbacks as well. You know, it comes down to two things. First and foremost, the fullbacks have to have quality on their deliveries. Can they whip it in behind first time for somebody to run onto and then put in a box? Can they cross it first time to a back stick? Can they whip it in behind? Like I said, people, I should stop using it and use this. So let me say that again. Can they whip it in behind if there's a runner like Aubameyang onside? Can they pull it into that space here for this guy who's onside now and pull it across for somebody else who'd be him? You know? Can they whip it in early? Like you saw for Guendouzi, Aubameyang against Spurs. Can you whip it in first time for a run? You know? Can you either one get down the wing and just put the normal crosses in? Now, Tierney can do that. Bellerin can't. But as much as I get at Bellerin and I think he made them mistakes because of himself, and he should be naive. He shouldn't be naive. He's almost 26 years of age and plays over 100 times for Arsenal. You know, to a degree, he's listening to the manager. Like if we look at the back four now, you saw this. They were fullbacks were told to get high. I genuinely believe that. Now, if he's told to get high, Bellerin needs common sense to know Son at any point can counterattack. I don't want to get in a foot race. But at the same time, they're being told that by the manager, to which I have to say, obviously, you know, it's not going to work. Also with this as well, people, you need movement. Now, again, these men are fullbacks. They're defenders. So let's keep the fullbacks here. Centre halves are not involved. You need movement. You need movement. Let's say that's a front three. You need someone making a run, pulling someone across with them. Then maybe this guy here can take advantage and go into that space. Or maybe he runs straight away, or he makes a run. Or, you know, you dart to the near post. I'll go to the front. You go to the near post. To the front post. I'll go to the back one. And then maybe I'll hang up for any afters. Or, you know, you lot will take everybody with you because you're there early. I might make a late run into the box when either side crosses it. We don't have movement. People don't take away runners. If we look at this front three, apologies, people. It's yanking up my hand, people. I should have a stand. Apologies. If we look at this front three now, there's no movement. Aubameyang, 9 times out of 10, he's isolated. Like against Spurs, you're going nowhere. You've got two brutes in Dyer and Alderweireld just clamping you up. You're not winning that. He's not the best with his back to go either way, people. Apologies for the light shining. It's not going to work. But if Aubameyang says, you know what, Laka, you do this thing. You're stronger than me. Laka says, all right, cool. And Laka starts winning more. One of them's going to say, all right, Toby, Dyer, one of you man get tight. He's ruining us. Now he gets tight. Aubameyang takes advantage. You're in that spot. Like you saw for actually where Toby clamped someone. You're in that spot. And then maybe something happens.
and then pretend this ain't a fullback anymore. You have late runners ready to mop things up. You also need midfield runners as well. But also, like I said, you need movement. You need better from your fullbacks. You also need better from your midfielders, people, your centre midfielders specifically, you know. Let's cut out the fullback now and just focus on the front three. These are our two midfielders. Defense is irrelevant now, yeah? Or in fact, they're not. Let's make this a bit more narrow. Apologies, people. Let me fix this up. Let me make them very narrow because it's easier to tell what I want. You need midfielders with the ability. Like I said, I'm not going to do it all again, but like I said, just picture all of this front three making different runs and taking people out of positions, you know, somebody dropping deep, you know, there's space to counter attack. Like you can see, he's dropped deep. He might take someone with him. There's gaps. So one midfielder could also run into that space, but also you need midfielders who can see these players making these runs, receive it from their centre halves, like whether it's Xhaka, and say, yo, hey, Holding or whoever, give me the ball. I'm going to hit my man on the run, or I'm going to hit my man down the channel. We ain't got the midfielders that can just see it and do it. 2-touch, clap it over the top, clap it in behind, sometimes play it short. And there's a mixture of a lack of bravery, a lack of intelligence, a lack of coaching in that regards, and just damn right lack of ability, people. So yeah, like I said, if we're going to play that all crossing system, which might be it, then you need people who can deliver the ball. You also need movement, but you also need people who can header. You know, Aubameyang hasn't scored too many headers. If Aubameyang is going to score from headers and whatnot, or he has, it's the ones where he's made a run and nobody's clocked him. He's not going to do the Giroud thing. Just not that Giroud doesn't. He darts to the near post and whatnot, but he's not going to Aubameyang's not going to be able to do them ones where he's planted flat, waiting for the ball, and he just powers someone like Andy Carroll. He can't do that. He can't do that. It's not going to work. My hand is hurting. I'm not going to lie to you lot, people, man. That was a killer. I need to get a stand. But yeah, man, that's one thing. So I was answering someone's question and I went off. Big up everyone for saying you can hear me. I really appreciate that. Look at all the members. It's a glorious sight. Look at you lot. I appreciate you lot. I appreciate all of you lot. You know, all you lot saying you can hear. I thought there would be someone that would say you wouldn't, man. Come on, man. I'm happy they love me over in JA, man. Come on, I'm soon back, man. I need to be back in Lil Ochi and them things there, man. I really appreciate that. Please hit the like buttons. I keep hearing there's not 100 likes. Come on, people. Who else is showing you live in real times tactics and them thing there? And you can't even hit the like button. What kind of nonsense is this, people? You lot are doing me dirty. Let me see what other things you lot have to say. How long will you give him? I'm sure you're talking about Mikel Arteta. Well, that brings me on to my next bit, people. If we look at our run of games, my phone should be fully charged. Apologies. Sorry, people. I know this is very unprofessional, but I have to say. Call you in 15, bro. Yeah. Apologies, people. Now, how long will I give? That's one question I always see. How long you give Arteta? How long you give him? How long's a piece of string? He has you lot know me. I can't speak for everybody. I don't think I can't tell you by this date. No. But you guys will be the first to know when I genuinely stop believing in him. You know, admittedly, it is a bit deluded, but there is something that just makes me stick by Arteta. I do think he can come good. I do think I discount that as much as I have criticisms for him. He's not been given the facilities to really have all his ideas. But if a day comes and he loses my trust, listen, Mikel Arteta is not Thierry Henry, like managing my club. He's not like he was the most favoured Arsenal player. I support Arsenal Football Club. I don't support Arteta beyond the courtesy of him being my manager and me wanting him to do well. If it's not that thing, he goes. It's like, I'm not saying you, but it just feels like there's mad pride on the line from fans. If some half are saying Arteta has to be a success, I can say I told you so, or you all know the Wolves are out for Arteta. But looking at the run of games, people, like I said, the players in Arteta, we can't afford to feel sorry for ourselves. The league, the world does not care that we can't get in top four, that Arteta hasn't been backed in the market, that Conke is doing this, that the players they don't give a crap. The world doesn't care. We are losing and we're going to keep losing. Life is what you make it. You either stop feeling sorry for yourselves or you get a move on. You actually either learn from these last couple of games that you've lost and where you've been outclassed and learn from hindsight and apply better foresight, or you keep doing the same things hoping for different results, which is clearly insanity, people. Looking at it, obviously we've got Burnley at the weekend.
is a tough game. You know, they can't buy a win at the moment, so they're going to turn into that old school Burnley two banks of four, very tough to break down, where we've needed Koscielny to kind of handball it in the back of the net at Turf Moor and things. We're at home. You know, I do think we can score goals, but if we're not going to try and put passes together, it's a myth. And obviously, when you've got Burnley and you've got players like Chris Wood and Tarkowski and all these aerial threats, we're not going to learn. Now, we've got Vestig, we're playing Southampton, and that's of interest because we've actually improved in terms of conceding less goals from set pieces. But when you look at Southampton and Vestergaard, much less the last game they played against Brighton, that's an area. And that's what I mean by other players doing their own research on teams and little hints and tips, because we're watching Match of the Day, we're reading Opta stats, we're doing our little research and concluding that, if we play Spurs, the counter attack, this and that is to be, we got to be wary of. I think of Arteta is, and he's giving them the info, but they're not heeding the advice. So again, it all depends what these players want to do, but it's not a kind set of fixtures. You've got Burnley on the weekend on Sunday, then on Wednesday you've got Southampton, then you go to Everton away, you got the quarterfinals against Manchester City. You've got Chelsea on Boxing Day. You've got Brighton away on the 29th. You've got West Bromwich Albion. Admittedly, these games, I think if it continues, somebody, whether it's Arteta, Edu, someone could lose their job by the West Bromwich Albion by the end of the 90 minutes, in my opinion. But just to paint the picture, like I said, until the end of the year, the games ain't getting any easier, people, you know. Like I said, Chelsea Boxing Day, Brighton away, West Brom away. You got the FA Cup against Newcastle. You know, you've got Palace, you've got a welcome Palace at home. And I remember under Unai Emery when I was there, they ruined our top four hopes. You've then got Arsenal against Newcastle in the league. You've got to play Southampton away in the 27th of January. 3 days later, you got Man United. You got Wolves away 2 days after that. You've got Villa away on the 6th of February. And out of the games that I've screenshotted, 13th of February, the last game will be Leeds. Now, obviously, games could be moved according to other teams' participation in cups. And obviously, Europa League will probably have some bearing. But, we're never having a clean run of fixtures. This is why you need to get points from the Villas, from the Wolves, from the Leeds, with all due respect, because we can't talk was to any of them. That's why you need to not make games harder than it needs to be, It looks good when you get away with it against West Ham. It looks good in the League Cup against Leicester when you get away with it, or against Sheffield United because of a second half. But when your luck runs out, you get these results. You get the 3-0 against Villas. You get sourced against Spurs at their new ground. Arteta 2 L's now in the North London derby. You get the begging for a point against Leeds. You get the stupidness we was doing against Wolves. Well, this is why you need to start games well. And for all the tactics and things I've talked about on the tactics board and all the other things other people and yourself are speaking about, it's about the upstairs. Mentally they need to switch on. Because listen, I can praise Leicester, Villa, Spurs, Wolves. Any team we've played Leeds, any team we've played recently, but fundamentally, there's been belief and their players, all 11 have been switched on. There's no point bigging up Tierney, Gabriel, Partey, and Saka, or, the usual suspects if we're going to say the others were rubbish, It's crazy. But like I said, we can't feel sorry for ourselves. And I do think there could be a change of manager by the end of the West Brom Albion game, the new year, depending on how things go. Because as sad as I think it is and things like that, ultimately, it's going to lie with the gaffer, really and truly. It's going to lie with him. I didn't mention it as well, people, but before I quickly forget about it, because it is in the title, people, Mesut Ozil. Now, it all depends what you read. It's the same old, because the Mirror is saying Ozil has made it clear he wants to stay and fight for his place, does not want to leave in January. He believes he'll be able to get another top club in the summer. His contract at Arsenal includes loyalty bonuses and incentives for him staying. That was originally put. So again, his bonuses, he's trying to get all his P's, which he's within his rights to do it. I'm sure he wants to play for Arsenal one more time. And say what you want, the club are allowed to alienate him. I don't think we've done it the right way, but they're allowed to alienate him. I do think it would be a bit distasteful for a club that claims about class and all of these things if Ozil, which I believe has really played his last game for the club, he deserves to at least bow out with a 90, or at least seeing the fans as well, because he has won the FA Cup here. He has been a decent player. I know it's been wishy-washy, but come on, it says more about us than about Ozil, the way we've been treating him. And also, conflicting reports say that he is close to joining Fenerbahce, according to one of the Turkish side chiefs. Now, this conflicting article went on to say he's 90% sure Ozil will move in January, which I'm sure Arsenal will hope to. We get 300k off the wages and all of these things, and we can move forward and whatnot. I know many people will say, if we're not going to buy someone in January, can we move for Can we, I mean, reintegrate Ozil back into the team, which is for another day, really and truly, to be honest with you guys, people. So we'll have to see what happens in that regards. It all depends, Again, if Fenerbahce are going to take him, are they going to, a player that's into his last 6 months of his contract, are they going to take on his full wages? Are they going to give us a loan fee? Are they taking on, they'll say they're taking on a free, but until his contract's done, you lot got to help us with some wages? Is he just being linked because he's of Turkish descent and his wife is Turkish? Because some reports apparently he thinks he can play in the Prem, and he's also been linked with DC. And again, when you are Mesut Ozil and you're running out your contract in January, you can see where all of these rumors stem from, people. So you can see where all of these stem from. So we'll have to see what happens. We really have to see what happens in that regards, folks. Moving away from that, though, what else have you lot got to say, people? So yeah, I've actually spoken about everything I said I was going to speak about today. And even to be honest, on the topic of Ozil, I've actually forgot something, people. Lundberg said it was a mistake really to leave him out of the 25-man squad, something that Emery at least covered himself. He said, when you have a player like that, I don't say he should play every week, but when you have possession and you need to find that cute pass, I don't think there are many better players than Mesut doing that. And that doesn't mean it's Ozil or nowhere. That doesn't mean we don't need to replace Ozil. That just means at least give yourself the luxury of having him in the squad. So if you play him, at least fans can say, look, he played Ozil. Ozil never broke down that in. The more you do this, it's not that people want to see Ozil to play. If you don't have a contingency plan for creativity, you got to show us something. It's like, let's just say for whatever reason, he wanted to freeze out Gabriel in this deluded world, If you show us defenders or a way of defending where Gabriel's no longer relevant, we can say, all right, cool, Gabriel, this, that, and the other, but he's been done dirty, but we're seeing it. He's not helped himself in that regards. And I think that's where, experience would probably be different there. You don't want to cut your nose off to spite your face. As much as I feel it's an above board decision, you never know. He also said, when you have he also said, of course you lose a bit defensively, but it's a decision they've made. I don't know why the decision's been made, and he's outside the 25-man squad, so they can't use him. So yeah, it is what it is in that regards. Lucas Torreira, who's barely been playing for Atletico Madrid, has been linked with Juventus, people who have concerns about his 27.5 million release clause. There is a chance of Torreira playing or starting in the Champions League at the time of making this live stream. But he hasn't been playing too much for Atletico, so he probably still has to earn his way. He got 14 minutes or so at the weekend. I think you'd do well at Juventus, to be fair, but why would you want to pay 27.5 million in this COVID market for a player that right now isn't playing at Atletico, and for whatever reason, it didn't happen for him at Arsenal, based on it. He just went down after his first season. In this deluded world, you're right. Hit the like button. It doesn't cost a thing. It's been 50 minutes already, people. I respect that. It seems like you lot love the later streams, in it. I do love me an 11:30 a.m. stream with you guys. I'm not gonna lie. There's not gonna be one tomorrow. But I do love that. I do love that with you guys. I really do love that. And what have you said? DG, he needs to be bold and make brave decisions like drop Xhaka. To be fair, he's dropped Xhaka. He's dropped Holding. He's actually dropped David Luiz for Holding in the eve of a big game against City before injury played a part. Bellerin, I think he's got soul ties. I'm not going to lie. Xhaka is going to lose him his job because retaining faith in the Xhakas, the Williams don't do much for you. I almost missed the super chat, and I appreciate that. 2 goal scoring opportunities we had in the derby where Bellerin screwed it up. Facts, man. Selling Xhaka should be a priority. I think as much as I want Xhaka to go, if you're not going to bring centre midfielders in January, we probably have to keep him until the end in terms of depth and bodies. Don't get it twisted. If an offer did come, he is allowed to leave. New Tider said, Burnley have not won a match this season. Burnley have not won a game against Arsenal since 1974. This is where we get Burnley's season going. We like to kickstart people's revivals and all of these sort of things. It's quite crazy. What if we play 4-4-2 like we do in Europa? I think if there's no Partey, I'm not trying to see a back four. I'm not trying to see a pivot in midfield if he's not there. And big up all my USA tugs locking in. I wouldn't mind it, but the pivot or in the midfield pivot would be what makes the difference. And it would find balance. You can get 2 wingers in there. It solves the Lacazette and Aubameyang conundrum. You could go with a Pepe on the right and Saka on the left, and it could also change into a different formation off the ball. So it would be right. I would love Ousmane Dembele, but considering his injury record and the fact Arsenal aren't going to go for him, I think that's where that one stays. What else are you lot saying? or does need a shake up. Worse than Mike Ashley. In fact, they're the levels, man. You know, he did inherit, but I mean, last year we wasn't kind of saying that. He needs to get more of a tune out of these players. And to be fair, these are, to a degree, you can say these are Arteta's players because he's choosing to use Mustafi ahead of a Saliba. He's choosing to use Xhaka and say, you've got a plot in my team. He's choosing to give David Luiz a new deal and say, I'm using you. He's choosing to use Bellerin. So as much as I think it's relevant how they're not his signings and things like that, he's not exactly marginalizing them. Now, to a degree, he might have to use them out of necessity, but he's rubbed out some other players. Quickly, he said, I don't want to use Torreira, Ozil, and Torreira, Ozil, and Guendouzi and players like that. So it is his squad, really and truly, to a degree. I know it's not his signings. Big up everybody locked in. Like I said, a lot of players are all hot and cold. And that's it. You know, he deserves to just say goodbye and keep it moving. It's as simple as that. That's why you might as well use them, my guy. That's why you might as well use them at least until the situation is altered or changed. And like you said, Ryan, they excited me with the under-18s. If you saw the way the under-18s played against Leicester, they actually tried to have more of a goal. They played in excisive passes, and Amari Hutchinson was cutting man up for time. Have you seen that Allegri's agency? Bro, they can send that. But he's not going to improve us without getting some peas. Like, it doesn't matter if an experienced man comes into this job or a new newbie like Arteta. Until I see a man fully back to a point where I can say wholeheartedly it's just on the manager. It's not that like Lampard. He can't blame Roman Abramovich. He can't blame no one else but himself. Arteta has to fundamentally blame himself. But did you get it? You know, he can't really. Aubameyang's limited, of course. If he's not scoring, he's not doing much. I do think his general play is better than man given credit for, but he's extremely limited in that regards. That's a fact. But that doesn't. We just need to play to his strengths, really, man. Billion is terrible, man. Big up yourself, Daniel Parker. I don't think Vieira should take over, but I would like him or someone of that ilk as a presence in and around the team. Really and truly, I would like that, people. I'm not going to lie to you lot, people. I'm going to take a couple more questions and I'm out of here. I can't lie, I'm getting very hungry. We've touched the hour mark. You should either get a manager from the Championship or the Bundesliga. I just want a manager that has a clear way of playing and can back it up. I think it's the Football Content Awards tonight. I know I ain't winning, so I ain't preying that. That's why I'm doing this live show, but it is what it is. You know, the next 3 games can get very dangerous, very dangerous, very dangerous. Tariq, I agree. I'll give him until the end of the season, but by January, this is it, really and truly. Until I see something to really lose faith and say, yo, I can't take the manager anymore, I won't do that yet. Juventus love a midfielder. Jason, you're right. Fundamentally, Bellerin is a liability. It's quite harsh. I just think with Torreira, he just struggles to adapt. He just hasn't adapted. And that could be it. That could also be it. That could also be it. Probably I can't blame you for that one. Oh, Tierney has bad games. Tierney's human. Tierney gets held to account, but let's be honest, you know, Tierney's human. Tierney's probably had more consistent games than Bellerin. You know, Bellerin doesn't play consistent, and this is what I mean playing favourites. Already you're doing it. You know, you have to call a spade a spade. Bellerin isn't playing well. You know, I've actually, throughout this, I've said he's our top guy for assists. He's played well in the second half against Sheffield United, but his consistency hasn't been there. So this tells me you're not actually looking at everything. You're just playing with emotion. Calm down. Look at it elsewhere. Else you lot got to say. Big up everybody. Please make sure you hit the like button. It doesn't cost a thing. And that's right. How can we improve? First and foremost, the way that might be for a next stream, to be fair with you, but how can we improve? First and foremost, we've got to stop feeling sorry for ourselves, and we've really got to put in the work in the training ground to show consistency. Arteta has to stop tinkering. Arteta has to stop playing with players that aren't good enough and don't retain his faith. That's how we move personally. And we need fundamentally better players. I don't think too much can change unless we improve. I'm well aware I asked some of you lot for questions or topics to touch on in via the YouTube community tab in terms of streaming. But in that regards, I'm pressed for time, people. And to be fair, I've answered a lot of them. I've been reading them, but some I'm going to keep for a stream tomorrow. I'll be back again tomorrow at the same time, to be fair with you. So yeah, people, I'll be back at the same time. I'm going to be on somebody else's channel tomorrow, on Rabona's channel. So make sure you're paying attention. If he still sends the link, should be doing that at 12 p.m. UK time. So there won't be an 11:30 stream, but I'll look to do one at the same time tomorrow. So please make sure you're hitting the like button. And it seems like you lot react better to the evening streams as much as I love the 11:30 ones. So yeah, man, you know, you typically after that you'll get your 2 streams a week. So yeah, two streams a day and however many a week. So yeah, and also you lot know preview tomorrow for the Dundalk game. You know you'll get your Dundalk watch along. You know you'll get your Burnley watch along on Sunday. You know you'll get your Southampton watch along the following Wednesday. So make sure you've hit the subscribe button. Make sure you've checked out the YouTube memberships. Make sure you've checked out, you know, you've got your reminders. I don't want you to miss talent, people. You know, yes, I did say that. I did say that. So yeah, bless up everyone. Hope you're all doing well and safe. Take care, man, and whatnot. Your morning streams at 6:30. Apologies. I apologize. I really apologize. America, I'm sorry. So I'll try. This is why I'm trying to do different strokes for different folks, man. Like trying to do it in the evening. So you lot are probably in the morning or the afternoon. And then you get, I'm trying to help you all, man. I'm trying, man. I'm trying. I'm just trying to have a consistent time for you lot. So you lot know when to kind of expect it rather than this off the cuff stuff. But we'll have to see, man. It's always a pleasure though, man. People, I'm out though, man. Take care. DG.